We're staying with the big breaking story that we brought to you first here on Headlines today. During the Justice Mudgal hearing in the Supreme Court, the top court of the country has passed extremely strong observations and has reserved very, very strong sentiments for the BCCI. The Supreme Court has said that cricket in India is like religion and people in India are passionate about it, and has told the BCCI that it is killing the game with what it is doing to it. On the benefit of doubt argument, the court says that rather than giving any individual named in the Justice Mudgal committee the benefit of the doubt, that should actually be going to the game, not to the players. The court has also asked the BCCI, if a BCCI president owns a team in IPL, will it or will it not be a clash of interest? Isn't this a direct conflict of interest? These are questions that have been swirling in the public domain, here in the media, for many, many months together, as far as the issue of conflict of interest and the huge damage that has been dealt to India's favorite sport as well. And now the top court of the land has asked those very same questions directly to the BCCI. Those questions have been deflected and snorted at by the BCCI over months, but this time the BCCI those comments have been made to the BCCI, not from the media, not from anybody else, but from the Supreme Court. This BCCI cannot cock a snook at the Supreme Court. Joining me live from outside Supreme Court, my colleague Ashish Merishi, who was in court. He witnessed these proceedings firsthand and saw precisely what happened. Also with me live from Kolkata is consulting editor Boria Majumdar. Ashish, if I could come to you first for a quick word on what you saw happen. Extremely, perhaps unprecedentedly harsh words for the BCCI.
It is unprecedented. We've never seen in the past on such hard observations against the BCCI by the Supreme Court. And in fact, words that have been used during the observations of the Supreme Court, if you go through each line, it very clearly reflects that the court is very unhappy of the way the BCCI and the IPL has been functioning. Now, see, when he spoke on. It very clearly said, Shiv, that way the BCCI and IPL has been functioning, it has actually robbed the faith of the people of India. It says that it is a religion in India, and it is because of this. They say that the court said that you're killing the game.
Yes.
The way the entire thing is observed. Yeah, cricket is actually a religion. But then again, the words that have been used, they said it seems they cannot differentiate between the BCCI and IPL.
Yes.
And as a team owner, and also as a BCCI president, you have not been able to differentiate between the two. And obviously, your purpose is basically to win. And you're also the BCCI president. So obviously, there is a conflict of interest. That is what the Supreme Court is saying. And also, the Supreme Court said it looks like it is that it is your duty to keep the game clean. At the same time, what is happening is that it looks like as if it is a mutual benefit society. These are the kind of words that have been used by the Supreme Court.
It's amazing. The Supreme Court has also said an employee of your team, these are observations directed at Srinivasan, an employee of your team was involved in betting, you have to reply. I want to bring in Boria Majumdar on this. Boria, I know you're going to be shaking your head, but it's about time that this these are words that were used, against the BCCI. Are these the most adverse words used so far by the Supreme Court against the BCCI? And what kind of position does it put the board in, Boria?
It completely takes the board apart as far as I'm concerned. The most important thing, Shiv, is even the last 7 days, the BCCI had an opportunity.
Yes.
The opportunity to try and get its house in order and cleanse the game. What the board did in its emergent working committee meeting, it said Srinivasan's clean. It said Gurunath Mayappan was not an employee. It tried to save him. It said Chennai Super Kings should not be banned. It did not say a single word in condemnation of Raj Kundra or Rajasthan Royals. It said Sundar Raman should be backed. So basically the tone and tenor of that meeting and the BCCI's meeting and the series of affidavits that were submitted in the Supreme Court tells you that nothing is wrong, everything's hunky-dory, we remain a 30-member cozy club, we will do as we wish. The Supreme Court has taken them apart. The fact of the matter is, for the last 1.5 years, and you use these words,
yes,
I'm echoing what you said, last 1.5 years, we in the media have been saying this. I, for one, I've been saying this time and again in print and television. Everybody has been echoing the same sentiment. And the question is, who constitutes the BCCI? some of the country's top-notch politicians, people who are governing this country, people who are head honchos of certain states. These politicians are key members of the BCCI. You know, everybody who's a state cricket association president, take stock of their backgrounds. You will see such people are people of eminence, and these are the people of eminence who have given us stony silence over the last 7 days, completely sort of negating to one corner the welfare of the game of cricket. So it ultimately had to boil down to the Supreme Court of the land to wrap the BCCI on its knuckles. Question is, can we infer from these observations that the writing is on the wall for us the BCCI is concerned? Because now, if the lawyers take it at face value, that's what I'm getting from the Supreme Court, that they will take the Mudgal report at face value, then what happens to the affidavits? What happens to the emergent working committee meeting? Now, if you say Gurunath Mayappan was betting, if he was indeed team, can Mr. Srinivasan as BCCI president sit in judgment of his own son-in-law and his own team? Now if he can't, how can he come back or reinstated as president? So several questions will now come up, because this kind of observation from the Supreme Court has absolutely nailed it for the BCCI as far as I'm concerned.
You know, the Supreme Court has also told Srinivasan, Boria, you must address conflict of interest as BCCI head and IPL team owner. I mean, directly, this is a comment from the Supreme Court directed not, you know, at the BCCI at large, but at Srinivasan personally, saying you must address conflict of interest as BCCI head and the IPL team owner. You know, are we likely to see a change of tone?
He cannot deflect it anymore. I mean, to say that India Cements is a, you know, a company and, oh, I am just a partial owner of India Cements, it's a board of directors. Gurunath was also not an owner. I mean, such questions don't cut the ice anymore. Everybody knows what the truth is. Why shy away from the truth? We need to know who lied. We need to know the names of the players. We need to know at whose behest did these players lie. Was it at Srinivasan's behest, yes or no? Who appointed the two-member committee? You know, to quote the Supreme Court, it's a mutual beneficial society. Of course it is. Take the case of the two-member judge committee appointed by the BCCI, which was condemned by the Bombay High Court. Within 2 hours, Gurunath Mayappan was given a clean chit. Gurunath Mayappan, knowing full well he'd get a clean chit, goes and, you know, testifies in front of that committee, but refuses to testify in front of the Mudgal committee. Now, you know, it's absolutely funny, because the BCCI wanted to make sure that nothing happened. That's why the two-member committee, that's why the clean chit. Now they'll have to do a lot of answering in the Supreme Court, because all these observations, the harshest of observations going for the BCCI, is there an escape route? Can people of eminence, Amit Shah, Rajiv Shukla, Arun Jaitley, Farooq Abdullah, one can keep Anurag Thakur, keep taking names. These people run this country. Can they keep silent? Because it is their responsibility as custodians of the game of cricket to cleanse this game. We are looking ahead at them to take stock of what is going on in the BCCI and cleanse this game. The silence that we've so far received from these people have not had any beneficial impact on the game of cricket or on the cricket fan, as a result of which this condemnation is happening in the Supreme Court. Had Rajiv Shukla not said the other day when people interviewed him, oh, we will wait for the Supreme Court. Why? The Mudgal report nails Mayappan, nails Raj Kundra, nails CSK, names RR, nails Sundar Raman, and yet you decide to back all of these people in your emergent working committee meeting. The BCCI has brought it upon themselves by disgracing the game no end. Now it has taken the highest court of the land to basically tell them as such.
They've disgraced the game, they've brazened it out not once, not twice, but multiple times, continuing to do so. And now they've got it in the face straight from the Supreme Court. A game that generates billions each year is, like the Supreme Court said, a religion in this country, has been killed by the BCCI. The words of the Supreme Court, we're not saying this in the media. You can choose what to believe, but the Supreme Court says you are killing the game, looking the BCCI directly in the eye. The Supreme Court has also, I want to inform our viewers, because we're getting these updates from our reporter in the Supreme Court. And Boria, I'm going to come to you in a moment on this as well. The Supreme Court has asked the BCCI if they will initiate criminal action also, or just administrative action on the guilty people named in the Mudgal panel report. On that, the BCCI said that criminal action will be initiated against the guilty. A question was put to it, Boria. Okay, I'll go to Ashish Merishi if I have him still with us. Ashish, very specific questions from the Supreme Court to the BCCI on the matter of whether criminal or administrative action will be taken? Okay, we've lost that line with Ashish, but Boria, the BCCI is up against the wall. The Supreme Court asking them about the nature of action that will be taken, whether it's going to be criminal or administrative. At this point of time, does the BCCI have any maneuvering space left?
I don't think so, for two reasons. One, the BCCI has already submitted an affidavit saying it is backing Srinivasan, backing Sundar Raman and backing these people. So the intent of the BCCI is clear. And from what I'm getting from the Supreme Court, Shiv, is that the BCCI is saying Srinivasan is in the clear, Srinivasan assuming he's in the clear, but the Supreme Court says you are not because you're a team owner. So the Supreme Court basically telling the BCCI president and the BCCI on its face that we, the Supreme Court of this country, are not allowing you, to sort of get clear of all of this. You've got to take stock of this, administrative or criminal action. What does that tell you? That tells you that you've got to take action. That's step number one. Whether it's administrative is criminal in step number two. But the fact is, you've got to admit that there are people who are guilty. The BCCI was telling us nobody is guilty. Chennai Super Kings is not guilty. Gurunath Mayappan is not team owner. Rajasthan Royals is not guilty. Sundar Raman is not guilty. Supreme Court is telling us the report is prima facie evidence. That is what the Supreme Court has said. Now, if the report is prima facie evidence, what happens to Raj Kundra? What happens to Sundar Raman? What happens to CSK and Rajasthan Royals? And what happens to Mr. Srinivasan? Now that the Supreme Court is telling him on his face that he is team owner, I think this is perhaps the biggest day in the as far as this case is concerned in the Supreme Court, where the BCCI is now staring down the barrel, because it has to take cognizance of this harsh observation by the Supreme Court of India, because if you don't, then you are in contempt of court. What will the BCCI do? To answer your question, I don't think there is any room left to maneuver.
No room left to maneuver. The onus completely on the BCCI. Asked whether they will take either administrative or criminal action, against the guilty. In the Mudgal panel report, they've said criminal. This could be tough times ahead. Not much maneuvering space, as Boria just pointed out, as far as the BCCI is concerned. As far as Gurunath Mayappan is concerned, the Supreme Court has asked the BCCI if they will initiate criminal or administrative action, and they have said criminal action right now. Boria, I'm going to ask you to conjecture for me a little bit, because the tone and tenor we've seen from the BCCI so far, from their spokespersons, from sources, has been one of, like I said, not really distancing themselves from this issue as much as, sort of stacking up their resources and might, in favor of all these people, Gurunath Mayappan, against N. Srinivasan. Given how powerful this board is, let's not forget how powerful this board is. You know that more than most people, Boria. Do you think that there will be a change in the public tone and tenor of the BCCI now?
Yes, the board is very powerful, but it cannot be more powerful than the Supreme Court of the land. I mean, that's as simple as that. If they were, they would have tried to reinstate Srinivasan and not appeal to the Supreme Court. Now that the Supreme Court has said this, it's not the media. They were basically telling you and I that come what may, the fan can say anything, the media can say anything, we the 30 members of the BCCI are a crony club and we think we are right. To hell with all of you. But now it's being said, the same thing is being said by the Supreme Court of India. Now the BCCI will have to take notice. And the BCCI is not an abstraction. It's a composition of 30 members, some of who are politicians, some industrialists, some corporates, and some people of eminence. Now, can these people take one by one? Farooq, Rajiv Shukla, Anurag Thakur, these are people of eminence. They are credible people. Can these people ignore these observations of the Supreme Court and continue to back Sundar Raman? Can they do that? Sharad Pawar, these are leading politicians. Why have we not heard anything from them?
Yes.
We are told Sharad Pawar is contemplating to fight the election. Why is Sharad Pawar silent on Srinivasan? Why is he silent on the Mudgal report? Why is he not saying anything that these people will have to leave? Why is the ruling BJP, which controls 9 or 10 votes, we are actually looking up to them to cleanse the game of cricket. Why are they silent? The fact of the matter is, after these observations from the Supreme Court, I don't think the BCCI can turn a blind eye. Because now the members will have realized that their entire stance in that emergent working committee meeting in Chennai was one of celebration. That, Mr. Srinivasan is in the clear. It is now just a matter of time for him to be reinstated. president, Sundar will continue, Gurunath will just be thrown out, CSK will continue. That, all of it has been thrown into the dustbin. So the members will not sit up and take notice that this is no longer a joke. This is being treated with this, most utmost responsibility and seriousness by the Supreme Court of India. They cannot ignore that. And after this, Shiv, the media outcry that will follow will be most difficult to ignore by anybody. Think of the papers tomorrow morning. Think of the television channels today. Can you actually ignore? And this is without the names of the players coming out in the public domain. Who is number 2? Who is number 3? Let these names come out. Only the media outcry will grow louder. So to take all of these things together and to try and put the story into context, I don't think the BCCI has much room left for maneuver. It stands red-faced, it stands shamed, it stands disgraced. Now it is upon the head honchos of the BCCI to stand up and finally say, oh, we've been kicked in the gut, we've got to get our act together and cleanse the game.
Well, they've been completely disgraced right now. I mean, the word you've just used, Boria, couldn't really say it better. The question now is, will, netas associated with the BCCI, Anurag Thakur, Rajiv Shukla, Arun Jaitley and others actually come out and say things like Boria importantly pointed out, and we're going to try and pull out that soundbite for you where Rajiv Shukla said that, he would leave it to the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court has stepped out, Mr. Shukla and other politicians associated with the BCCI and cricket administration in the country to say, you are killing the game. You've destroyed the game with conflict of interest by looking the other way and not taking action when you had all the power in your hand to do so. And looking straight at N. Srinivasan, the highest court in the land has echoed what has been reverberating in the public space, in the media for the last many months since the IPL spot fixing scandal actually broke, to say, how can you be the head of the BCCI and also be a team owner? Asking the BCCI, don't you think that this is a clash of interests? It couldn't be more explicitly put. It couldn't be more direct at the BCCI. I'm going to go across to Headlines Today's Ashish Merishi in a moment once we get him back on the line, to give you a first-hand run-through of the things that have been said in the Supreme Court to the BCCI. I want to run you through some of those other things that have been said. During the course of the hearing today, the Supreme Court, like we have been bringing to you here on Headlines Today, has passed very, very strong observations. For those of you still tuning in, the Supreme Court has said that cricket in India is like religion and people in India are passionate about it, and that the BCCI is, and this is a phrase that's going to reverberate, killing the game. The BCCI is killing the game is what the Supreme Court has just pronounced today. On the benefit of doubt argument, the court has said that rather than giving it any individual, it should go to the game. I have Ashish Merishi, our deputy editor, live with us from the Supreme Court. Ashish, you're one of the few reporters who was in court. Take us through the unprecedented manner in which the BCCI was literally roasted by the Supreme Court today.
In fact, if you see, Shiv, the way the observations that have come from the Supreme Court, it has certainly brought down the stature of BCCI that was already in question. In fact, if you see the way the Supreme Court has said, they said that the way BCCI has been functioning, it has almost killed the game, and they've killed the game which has actually been observed as religion. It is people in India, crores and crores of people who are passionate about it. But at the end of the day, if you see it is the observations certainly hit mainly on N. Srinivasan for the reason because the way they said that it is a duty of the president to keep the game clean, but in fact they have failed in doing so. Shiv, the Supreme Court has also said that it looks like a mutual benefit society.
Yes.
The Board of Control of Cricket, you have the president of Board of Control of Cricket, then again you have people in the IPL who own the same own the team, who is the president of BCCI. So there is a conflict of interest, and how can you have run an organization where there is conflict of interest? So certainly really harsh and hard observations by the Supreme Court.
Very, very harsh observations by the Supreme Court. And what was the BCCI's own body language and response to some of these comments by the Supreme Court, Ashish? Not that the BCCI has a choice, but the onus is on them now.
Very true. In fact, the BCCI, in fact, in one of the observations, in one of the arguments, the court said, are you going to take any criminal action, or is it going to be only an administrative action? So they said that obviously we are taking we are going for criminal proceedings against Mayappan, Gurunath Mayappan, but the court said that you're not left with much choice because you have to do it. You're not left with any choice now. So certainly the court is not very happy. They said that the way the BCCI has been functioning, the way conflict of interest has not been addressed by the BCCI, and the way the entire thing has been functioning, especially taking the
Yes.
Board of Control of Cricket as a mutual benefit society. This is a very, very important observation that you are the president, you are the team owner, you
Right.
are running the IPL, everything is under you, and obviously, and you're not address the conflict of interest issue. So obviously the court is not very happy in the entire issue.
Ashish, stay with me for a moment. I also want to get in a word from Nikhil Chopra, former cricketer. Nikhil, what are you making of what the Supreme Court has said? Unprecedented comments to this BCCI.
Well, and this is the best time now to actually get some credibility back into the BCCI. They need to look to at least clean it up so that common fan, because of why the BCCI or why cricket is so popular today, so these guys need to go out and make some of these changes, Shiv, because the Apex Court coming out and saying that the board has become a mutual benefit society.
Yeah.
I guess it's literally a wake-up call or slap in the face and say, guys, try and look at yourself in the mirror and see what you see.
You see what you see. It's the right time for something like this to actually happen. Some might say it should have happened a little earlier, but better late than never. And for once, like Boria rightly pointed out, the BCCI can choose to be, you can choose to ignore the media. It can choose to ignore, sort of huge negative publicity in the press over months, sustained coverage against N. Srinivasan. The one thing it cannot dodge, the one thing it cannot cock a snook at is the Supreme Court. They cannot dodge the words that have been said today because they are a reflection, like Boria very rightly pointed out, on the several big, powerful politicians associated with cricket administration in the country. People like Arun Jaitley, people like Rajiv Shukla, who've been associated with the BCCI, Anurag Thakur of the BJP as well. Will they come out and say anything at all about the manner in which the Board of Control for Cricket in India has been completely roasted by the Supreme Court today? This is the big agenda-setting story today. It impacts everyone, and we're going to be right on top of it here.